Welcome to Black Women Leading the Podcast. I'm Laura Knights, your host and the founder of BlackWomenLeading.com. Today, we're talking about honoring our stories with Dr. Menah Pratt. We'll learn about her book, Blackwildgirl, and also talk about journaling as a way that we can honor our stories. If you have been in a place where you feel like you are unlearning rules from your childhood or trying to reclaim your voice in this current season of your life, if you want to find a part of yourself that you feel has been buried by the challenges of life, or if you just want to be inspired to start a practice, a writing practice, a journaling practice that can help you to reaffirm your experience and again, come back home to yourself, then you need to keep listening. Let's get into it.
Black woman leading. Black woman leading. This podcast amplifies the needs and experiences of Black women leaders in the workplace with a holistic focus on three core areas: leadership development, mental wellness, and relationship management. Our ultimate aim is to help Black women learn, heal, and grow in their leadership capacity.
Hey y'all, before we jump into this episode, I wanted to let you know that registration is now open for the January 2026 cohorts of both our early career and mid-career leadership development programs. No matter where you are on your career journey, our programs are designed to support your holistic development, wellness, and career growth. Our mid-career program is designed for mid and senior level leaders, and it focuses on developing a customized career strategy in this season of your career. Our early career program is a training program, and it's designed to strengthen the foundational leadership competencies really needed to grow into leadership roles. And of course, both programs will center your mental wellness and self-care and also provide a culturally relevant lens for you to do your personal and professional development work as a Black woman. Now, both programs include a ticket to our annual Black Woman Leading Live conference and retreat. It's taking place May 11th through the 14th, 2026 in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Now, speaking of Black Woman Leading Live, it is the premier leadership development conference to help Black women professionals learn, heal, and grow in their leadership capacity. And honey, let me tell you, we have a time there. Activities include workshops, panels, wellness breaks, laser coaching, networking, action planning, and all of this in community with other brilliant Black women from across the country. Okay, in our 2026 event, we're going to be focusing on being future ready leaders. So if you want to explore registering for one of our programs, our cohort programs, or if you just want to register for the conference, either thing, you can see the links in the show notes or visit our website at www.blackwomanleading.com to get all the details.
Black woman leading. Keep on healing. Woman leading.
All right, so hey everybody, today we are talking about honoring our stories with Dr. Menah Pratt. Welcome, Menah.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you. I'm excited to jump into this topic, and I'll tell y'all in a little bit why I wanted to have Menah on the show. But first, let me give you the official about her. So Menah Pratt is an award-winning, nationally and internationally recognized leader, scholar, and author. She has over 30 years of experience in higher education and senior leadership roles at major public and private universities, including Vanderbilt, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and Fisk University. She has often served in inaugural roles as Vice President, Chief Strategy Officer, Chief Diversity Officer, Chief of Staff, Secretary of the University, and University Counsel. Okay, she has 5 degrees, y'all, including a law degree and PhD in sociology from Vanderbilt University. As a tenured full professor, she is the author of Blackwildgirl, a writer's journey to take back her superpower and companion journal, Finding Your Superpower. She is also the founder and co-editor of a new journal series, Dear Higher Education, Letters from the Social Justice Mountain, featuring over 50 letters from across the United States, and globally on issues of social justice and higher education. She is committed to working to make the world a better place, especially for the most marginalized in society. So y'all know I always say our guests have the receipts, honey. If they don't have the receipts, they're not in the chair. Okay. So excited from Menah. How we met, her PR folks reached out and said, Menah's doing some amazing work. We think there's an alignment. Y'all know I always have to have a call to check the energy of folks. And it was just a beautiful connection. What really kind of encouraged me or made me excited to have been on the show was her book, Blackwildgirl. And as I was reading the overview of the book and like the intentionality behind the book, it really gave me a warm spot. And if you all been following the podcast for a while, you may know that the very first leg of my career was dedicated to girls, Black adolescent girls, studying girls, being a therapist for girls, child and adolescent therapist. I ran social emotional groups in the church, in the community. And the whole probably first 10 to 15 years of my career was dedicated to Black girls. And so as a youth development worker and as a social worker, I studied also as a graduate student, like relational aggression in girls and how that showed up and how it was different for Black girls, right? And one of the things that always in both practice, I was doing this work in city of Chicago, public schools, in neighborhoods that most people were scared of, right? And often what was so jarring was the adultification of these girls, right? The robbing of their ability to be children that were learning, right? The roles that they played as full-grown adults in their family and in their community while they were still figuring out who they were. So when I read the summary of Blackwildgirl, which is, we're going to get into it, but it's really talking about the journey, right? From 12 years old on up as a Black woman. It was like, this is a story, like this is an experience. The other thing I think that really resonated with me for the current work we do in Black Woman Leading is that there are so many people in our community that when they come to Black Woman Leading, they're seeking to reclaim something, whether it's their vision for their future, they're recrafting their career vision, whether it's their voice, their confidence. And so just all of this just really resonated with that. So I want to get into it. Enough of me talking. I want to get into it, but I wanted to give context, right, of why this is really relevant to our experience as Black women leaders, because there's often that little girl that we're still trying to reclaim some parts and to heal her and to give her a voice. And that's what this work is talking about. The other thing that I love about Menah's work that we're going to get into, and I want you to listen for this today for yourself if this resonates. A lot of this work that Menah will share with us is about this aspect of journaling, right, as an outlet for self-awareness. And I remember as a young girl and as probably up to maybe 27, Menah, journaling was such a part of my life up to probably up until I had my first child, which was 28. I still have those journals. I don't read them as much as I used to, but it was a critical part of my development. And then when I became a mother, I was realizing this as I was preparing for this package. I just never returned to it. And so if that's been you and journaling served as a source for you, a resource for you, we're going to talk about how you might be able to wake that thing back up. Okay. So that's a little bit about where we're at, but let's get into it. Enough of that. I wanted to give y'all some context because I think this is really special. So I wanted to give a little bit of that context before we jump into this and start to really hear some of these insights from Menah. But Menah, before we jump into our topic today and talking more about your book, Blackwildgirl, I always love to ask our guests, what does the phrase Black woman leading mean to you? And I read a little bit about your bio, but in your own words, if you could share a little bit about your journey as a Black woman leading and how you came to this current work.
Sure. I just first want to give you your flowers. It's such important work that you're doing. So I just want to honor and recognize you and thank you for the work that you're doing. So Black woman leading, I feel like it's this powerful energy of ancestral and cultural energy that we have as Black women that we bring into the world. And so when we're leading, we're drawing from African ancestry, Caribbean ancestry, the diaspora broadly, and we're bringing that sort of cultural lens to our work and our interactions with others. And I think that's really an important perspective and lens, because there's a energy of survival. We have survived a lot. There's a persistence, there's a determination, there's a work ethic. So all of those elements and values come into who we are when we lead. So that's sort of the mindset I got when I thought about Black woman leading. And for me, my own heritage is very much African American. So my father was born in Freetown, Sierra Leone, in West Africa. And he studied a bit in London, and he came to the United States, and he went to Hampton University, got a bachelor's degree in physics, and then he went to Carnegie Mellon and got a master's degree and a PhD in nuclear physics in the 1960s.
Wow.
Okay, so you have this African man who comes to the United States in the 1960s and gets a PhD in nuclear physics.
He was the only. I can guarantee you that man was the only. He had to be.
Only.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. And he meets my mother in Pittsburgh. And my mother, her grandmother was enslaved. So that's how recently the enslavement journey is. Her grandmother was enslaved. And so she was the daughter of 8. There were 8 children in her family. She grew up in Henderson, Texas, rural East Texas, just dirt poor, sharecropping, picking cotton. And she talked to me about how hard it is to actually pick cotton, working as a maid. And she just managed somehow, with sort of this Black woman energy, to climb out of those circumstances. She got 4 degrees. She got a bachelor's degree from Jarvis, a historically Black school, HBCU in Texas. She got a master's degree from Butler University in religion. Both of those were in religion. Then she got a master's in social work, actually, from Indiana University. Yes. And then she went on and got her PhD in social work from University of Pittsburgh. Okay. So those were my parents. Okay. They're both passed, but those are my parents. And they met in Pittsburgh. I was born in Pittsburgh, so I'm a hardcore Steeler fan. Just like a hardcore Steeler fan. And I was born in Pittsburgh, and my parents got faculty positions at Illinois State University. And sadly, 3 years into my father's tenure track career, the university fired him, just terminated his contract. And it changed his whole life. It changed his whole world. But my mother went on and became successful, became a tenured professor when less than 1% of Black women were tenured faculty in the 1970s. So my father had this mindset that I'm going to raise my children to be independent of the system. And as a little girl, I didn't know what the system was, but I kept hearing about the system. And Roots came out in 1977. I was 10 years old, and they made me watch the entire series. And it just left this lasting impression, like, I need to do something for my people. And so that's been my career. It's been like a fierce dedication to how do I get the tools that I need, the keys that I need to open doors so I can open doors for my people to come through. And that's been my entire life commitment, is to deal with this system that has just oppressed and put just a dislike and hatred towards African American people, but we have survived.
Yes.
Right. And so that's that tension that it's like there's this oppression, but we're still pushing through it. And I just want to help others push through it.
Yeah. You know, I got a little chills as you're talking about that. Thank you for sharing that story about your parents too, because part of it, and it makes me think of, like you said, you know, Black woman leading is really this kind of ancestral legacy. The audacity of your parents, like the audacity of your mama, you just said, no, I'm just gonna do this. Like, there was no blueprint for her, right? It's just, that is so fascinating to me that, like, you literally are picking cotton and you're like, no, I'm just gonna go get a PhD.
Yes.
It's just like, it has to be something divine, something, because where does that come from, right? It's really powerful. And I love that you bring this ancestral piece, especially as we start talking about your book, because so much of what we're experiencing today is not just us. And it's both the ancestral power, sometimes the ancestral trauma as well. But what I
Yes.
loved about what I love about this concept of Black World Girl, Wild Girl, sorry. We're about to get into this, y'all, because y'all like, you keep saying it. We don't even know what you're talking about. Let me just say this, y'all, to give a context, and then we have to jump into it. Is that, so often we talk about, you know, ancestral trauma, right? It's passed down. We know this, right? It's passed down. Our DNA is changed. We know this,
Yes.
right? But what I really love too is that this concept of ancestral healing and the work that you're doing now in the present, the work that we do now in the present can also heal the line forward and back. And
Yes.
it's
Yes.
so powerful. It's so powerful. I want to come back to that because I have a question
Yes.
for you about that. But let's tell the people what we're talking about first, okay? Let's
Okay.
talk about your book, Black Wild Girl, which is a very interesting autobiography format, right? With acts,
Yes.
stages, and
Yes.
scenes.
Yes.
How you chose to like put this body of work together is very interesting in and of itself. And you all will have the link to the book in the show notes and the companion journal in the show notes. But it's chronicling your journey from 12 years old to reclaim
From eight,
from
actually, 8 years
years
old.
old to reclaim your Black Wild Girl. So who is Black Wild Girl? What is that? And what was your inspiration for writing the book? Give us a little bit of that context and then we'll dive into it a little bit.
Sure. So I thought I would share a little excerpt from the
Okay.
book that will help define Black Wild
Okay.
Girl. Okay. This book is about my journey and search for my childhood goddess self, Black Wild Girl. Black Wild Girl, a little black girl, was 5 years old in 1972. She was acting grown and sassy, being womanish in the Alice Walker way, with outrageous, audacious, courageous, or willful behavior. Behaved like a Black Wild Girl should and must be in the world. However, her way of being in the world enraged her father. Towering over and peering down, he shouted so loud it almost shattered her soul. Who do you think you are? With tears streaming down her face, Black Wild Girl said, Queen of Sheba. Queen of Sheba. Seemingly out of the wild, out of nowhere, she claimed to be the biblical, powerful, beautiful, wise queen of an ancient African nation. This story, almost lore, was often shared with me by my parents, like a joke, accompanied by hearty and maybe even haughty laughter. How dare a little girl say she was Queen of Sheba? And so that's what the book is about.
Wow.
It's like I said I was Queen of Sheba, and because Black girls cannot speak their truth as little girls, they're silenced and sort of put away. And I feel like that part of me was put in a backpack that I carried around until I went to some particularly traumatic counseling session where I realized that I was carrying this backpack of my little girl with me. And the counselor was like, it's time to let her out.
Wow.
And it was at that moment, and I was in my 50s, where I was like, oh my gosh, I've got this little girl that I need to understand, that I need to love, that I need to reclaim, that I need to re-cherish. And so that's been my life journey, but I don't think it's just the journey, my journey. Yeah. It's just like Black women's journeys, right? It's a lot of women's journeys. It's not even necessarily race-based. It's, women don't have voices in society, and when we do, we're silenced. And so this was about reclaiming voice.
Wow.
And so I've been journaling since I was 8 years old. And I've just been carrying these journals around from house to house to house. And one day, it's going to sound a little odd, but they called me. Okay. And it was like, this is a time for you to tell our story. Okay. And the reason I recognize that call is when I wrote my first book, which was about Black girls in Detroit school system. I'd been carrying around boxes from my dissertation. And all of a sudden I heard this call. It's like, you need to go down in the basement and get that work out and tell the story of little Black girls in Detroit school system. And so I recognized the call. So trying to be obedient to the spirit, I gathered up those journals. I went to a retreat center in Nashville, Penuel Ridge, and I spent 3 weeks just transcribing journal entries.
You just stayed at the retreat center for
Yes,
3 weeks.
yes, by myself,
Wow.
by myself.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was how the first draft came about.
Okay. Well, I got so many things we got to answer here. I just need to touch this silence, because I think this is the connection point, right, to a lot of people that might be listening. So we think of that moment, and for you, it was what, 8 or 5? It was
5.
5. I think of, for some people listening, it may have been 12 or teenage years.
Yes.
For some
Yes.
people, it may be you had the black wild girl and you got to college and somebody did something, right? Or
Yes.
said something that silenced you. And you're kind of having this enlightenment and awareness at 50, right? So we look at 42 years, you've been carrying 45 years, you've been carrying the backpack. How do you, when you reflect back, how do you see that silenced voice manifesting in different areas of your life? I think about professional, I think about personal. How do you see that? What was the real life, real lived experience of that as you look back over your life?
Well, I think the real lived experience was trying to figure out who she was, but it was like who I was, but I couldn't fully understand who I was until I sort of confronted that spirit, that energy. Because my life was about, in school, it was, I need to understand the experiences of Black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I studied African American history, English literature, philosophy. I started tutoring Upward Bound students. I was the director of an after-school program for Black 6th grade girls. And so my spirit was being drawn to that energy of girlhood. And I think it was really a lifelong journey of knowledge.
Yeah.
It was seeking knowledge. But the journaling also helped me to sort of find myself, right? My journal entries were addressed to love. Dear love.
Really?
Dear love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was the love I was looking for, because my childhood was so traumatic because of my father's unemployment and the trauma of trying to fight and appeals and legal battles. And so he became my tennis coach. So I was like the Venus and Serena before Venus and Serena. So I graduated at 16 and he was my coach. And he just was my coach full time for 2 years. And it was just a tough relationship, right? Father, coach, he's trying to fulfill his dreams through me.
Yeah.
And so it was that search for love, really.
Yeah. So I'm hearing that the voice in the backpack, the disconnect was identity and really knowing who I am, right? And knowing and finding that. And I can imagine, as I think about, I don't know if I've had a silencing experience like that, but what as I try to connect to like this Black wild girl experience, I think one of the things that I experience is my father lived with mental illness, and really, it was present, and it was another family member in our life, right? And I think back that although I don't think this was put upon me by my parents, there was a real achievement need, such that the achievement was my identity. Right. So it was having to be the best in everything, having to be the, that kind of thing. And I think part of it is I'm really resonating with that quest for excellence, right? From parents.
Exactly.
Yes. That quest for excellence. And I do resonate that it was an identity thing, because I remember having a bit of a identity crisis after I had my first child, because, it's like, you somebody mama now? What? But the crisis was that I could not perform at the level that I had been before I had a child, and my body changed and all these things happened. And that was devastating to me, because if excellence is who I am and I can't perform and be excellent right now, then who am I, right? And I think we all got a little backpack of something that we are reclaiming in this way. Okay.
I love you mentioning excellence, because I talk about the 2 gifts that my parents gave me were discipline and excellence.
Yep.
Okay. They were the gifts that they gave me. But at the same time, I realized that don't need to be excellent to be loved.
Yes. Yes. The worth connection is not.
Yes.
Yes, that's good. And as we think about this reclaiming, especially, our season 8 theme, leaning into joy, this is so timely. That's why I was like, oh, this is perfect for the season. And you talk about like this rigid, disciplined kind of system you grew up in, and this reclaiming kind of your free self, right? Your untamed
Yeah.
self. As we think about people who might be listening, and again, your backpack contents might be different, but you probably got one, right? Especially if you grew up as a Black woman here in America, right? There are
Right.
so many people that we encounter in our work with Black women leading who are seeking to reclaim a part of themselves, voice,
Yeah.
free, whatever that is. What insights would you give to those who are in this space, navigating adulthood and leadership? Because a lot of our people, they're leaders in
Yes.
particular. What insights or encouragement would you give as this kind of awareness might be opening up to somebody right now too?
The first thing I'm going to share is it's travel. It's travel. And when I was a little kid, I heard that there were pyramids in Egypt. And I'm like, are there really pyramids in Egypt?
Mhm.
And so on my credit card, after law school, I went on a tour with this all white Catholic tour group. I don't know how I found them, but I went to Egypt
Mm.
and I saw the pyramids. And I was like, oh my word, my people did this.
Wow.
And I saw tombs and I saw just excellence and just magnificence
Wow.
of Black people. And it was so powerfully affirming.
Wow.
Okay. So that was me okay, I'm going to go to Egypt and see what it's like. I went to Sierra Leone. So my mother and I, when I was a sophomore in college, she and I went. I met my grandmother,
Wow.
a very rough African woman. But my aunt was also a very loving, just authentically loving African woman. And so just being around that spirit of African history, love, wisdom, insight was so powerful, empowering.
Wow.
And when I went through sort of a dark period in my life, so the book has stages. It's seed, so we get buried as a seed,
Yeah.
and then we develop roots, and then they're weeds, and then we finally become branches.
Okay.
And so I was going through my weed sort of journey, and I went to Barbados. And I was like, wow, there was like an energy in Barbados that was so just powerfully affirming. And so I think the first thing, I think a lot of times we feel like, oh, we got to save money. We don't have money. I just put that thing on credit cards and I
You
went.
say, I got to get out of here.
You just have to,
I got to get out of here.
because it creates shifts. Travel creates shifts. Okay. So that's the first thing. The other thing is I had a girlfriend recently say to me, because things were getting tough at work with all the anti-DEI energy. And I was sort of complaining and just expressing sort of the trauma of the moment. And she said, Menah, and I've known her for almost 40 years. Okay. She said, Menah. And then she repeated my name. I'm like, oh no, she's getting ready
You got to drop a bomb
Yes.
on you. Right?
Yes. And she said, Menah, focus on the woman in the mirror. And I was so confused at that point. I was like, who's the woman in the mirror? And I'm just looking at her, just like this blank look. I'm thinking, okay, Michael Jackson has a man in the mirror. Like, what?
Right.
And then it hit me. I'm the woman in the mirror. And I mean, that's my advice. It's like, focus on the woman in the mirror. Because we do so much for other people. You know, our children, our partners, our community, our work, our church, we do so much.
Yeah.
But what about, there are things that no one can do for us. No one can take care of our health for us, right? No one can exercise for us.
Yep.
No one can make sure we eat the right food but us.
Yep.
And I think we feel so like, oh, I don't want to be selfish, but gosh darn it, be selfish.
Man.
Because if you're not here, you can't do nothing for anybody
And
else.
people leaving up out of here for these things you talk about
Yes,
with the health and the,
yes,
and I feel like this centering self, right? If you just
yes,
hear that and you cringe, right? If you hear that and that elicits some type of guilt or something, you can even start small with developing that muscle for yourself. Simple thing, something I've been trying to return to because I've been feeling this season, it's a stressful season, and I've been feeling it not so much mentally, emotionally, but I've been feeling it in my physical
yes,
body, right?
yes,
I
yes.
had a migraine yesterday, and I usually get maybe 2 migraines a year. I
Mm,
had 2 in the last month. And I'm like, wait a minute,
mhm.
Laura. I had to cancel my meetings. I just had to
Yeah,
cancel the meetings. We'll figure it out. But a little place, if you're like, center myself, how do I do that? What does that even mean? A little place, y'all, you can start is just asking, what does my body need right now?
yes,
Do I need to lay down? Do I need a
yes.
sandwich? Do I need some water? Do I need to get
Right,
up and use the bathroom because I've been holding it and saying after
yes,
this meeting and after this meeting? It can
yes,
be really little things
yes,
that we can
yes,
begin to develop the muscle to listen to ourselves. It sounds like, oh, yeah, that's simple. It's really not. It's an exercise, it's a practice.
yes.
Okay, this is good. So, travel, y'all got to get out of here. You ain't got the passport, you need to get it and get out of here. And then centering self and even starting with
Yes,
small stuff. I want to
small
go
stuff.
back to this journaling because, as I said in the intro, this is
Yeah.
one of the things that really spoke to me. And we think about this title, honoring our stories, right? Journaling
Mhm,
at the core
mhm.
is writing your own story, right?
Yes,
You talked about unearthing 45 years of
yes,
journaling to
yes,
tell this story and to pull out this lesson of Black Wild Girl. It's
yeah,
a powerful example of journaling as an outlet of self awareness and growth.
yeah.
Can you share a little bit more about one? I'm just intrigued about the process of unpacking 45 years of
Mhm,
journaling. Like, what was
mhm.
that experience? But can you also, give us a present day of how can journaling or personal writing or whatever you want to call it be a foundation for growth
Yes,
for you?
yes. I thought I would share a journal entry
Okay.
that I wrote after I came back from that retreat center when I had gone and taken all these journals and transcribed and then came back. And the journal entry is dated August 18th, 2019.
Hmm.
Okay. 2 days ago, I was in despair. I didn't think I could write this book about my life. I was tired of fighting invisible ghosts of racism, sexism, and hatred. I was tired of the energy of those who are jealous, of those who are dismissive, and those who make me question everything. I cried and cried and cried. I called upon the God I believe in to rescue me, to save me from what I don't even know then or now. Maybe it was just the sinking feeling of my constant struggle.
Mm.
I woke up in the morning surprised I fell asleep. I must have cried myself to sleep. I look at the outline for this book. It's rough. I'm struggling to write about my life as a Black woman, for our lives are not singular lives, but intertwined with others. Our stories are part of their stories, and their stories are part of ours. In telling intertwined stories, I've been experiencing an internal battle about what to share, what to reveal, and what to allow to remain hidden. I've been asking myself questions. What do I say? What do I omit? How do I not harm? How do I be authentic and honest? What will people think?
Yes.
Okay. What will people think? That's the biggest thing, right? Because these journals were not meant to be shared,
Yeah.
right? These journals were my way of processing my world.
Yeah.
And in the journals, I'm talking about how much I weigh. It's like, okay, today I weigh this amount. Why did I eat that Big Mac? Like, Menah, do better, drink some water.
Yeah.
There's like some criticism
Yeah.
of self in these journals. There's despair. It's like, I know that I'm working hard as everybody else, and this white man just got promoted over
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
This white man just got paid more than me, right? So I wasn't trying to share
Yeah.
my personal struggles,
Yeah.
but I realized that they were not mine. That we have them. They're in different forms, but we as women in particular have these unique journeys
Yeah.
in life And what's so important is for us to share them. And we have to write, we have to get it out.
Get it out.
We have to get it out. And Bell Hooks said, no woman has ever written enough.
Mm.
And no Black woman has ever written enough. And so I think what I'm wanting to encourage, particularly Black women, because there was wisdom in the writing that I did not remember.
Yes, yes.
And I went back and I was like, did I write that?
You're like,
no.
That's good. That's good. You're like, that's good right there. Yes.
Yes. It's like, and it's like you can hear the wisdom of the universe, like that still small voice.
Yeah.
I found it and I saw it and I saw this affirmation and I felt the love through the journaling process.
Wow.
And so one of the gifts that I wanted to give as part of writing the book, because it wasn't for me to say, here, look at this very difficult journey, but I wanted to help others start that journey.
Yeah.
So there's a companion journal with the book. And the companion journal, you don't have to really read the book to do the companion journal because it asks questions about your life.
Yeah.
When was the first time you left home? What was that like? What was the first time you fell in love? What about when a significant person in your life died?
Yeah.
What was that like? Like I journaled my mother's dying.
Oof.
She died in our house. And there was a journal entry where I said, have I brought my mother home too? And I couldn't write die.
Mm-hmm.
Have I brought my mother home too? So there's just this whole series of 6 months of just seeing my mother dying in my house.
Yeah.
And I think that ability to just get it out, right? There's no one I could really talk to but it's like my journal was my friend. It was my friend.
Yeah.
And I just think that, if we can be correct, it does take courage because you're worried about somebody seeing what you've written.
Yeah.
And you just have to get past that.
Yeah.
You just have to get past that.
Oh, something you said, just thank you for sharing that, really resonated with me because earlier you said you were writing to love, dear love.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
seeking that. And then when you came back years later and read it, you felt it. So
Yes.
you was giving it to yourself while
Yes.
seeking it, right? And then
Yes.
came back later to be reaffirmed in that love from your own
Yes.
words. That's really
Yes.
beautiful. Really
Yes.
beautiful. And what really resonates with me too is, when you were talking about the what will people say, and that our stories are not our own, they're integrated. And so some of the challenge in honoring our stories is that it speaks the truth about other people.
Yes. Yes.
Hello. So
Yes.
and that gets a little, because
Yes.
my husband always says when there's especially when around a funeral and somebody died, he folks gonna be up there making somebody a saint, and
Yes.
we,
Yes.
that don't get up on somebody's funeral and disparage you.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, I think part of this writing the story and being the fear, the anxiety is that because if I write the story of my childhood,
Yes.
and I'm a child, an innocent child, and there is
Yes.
some trauma or some things I experience, it implicates people that I love, people that I
Yes.
respect. And what does that
Yes.
mean if I document that and that's real?
Yes. Exactly. I mean, I think it did help that my parents had passed. Okay.
Yeah.
But my mother had tried to write her own autobiography before she died.
Mm.
And there were pieces of paper all over the place. And when she was dying, she said, Menah, you have to tell my story for me.
Wow.
Okay, so that's a book that I wrote. It's called From Cotton Picking to College Professor,
Wow.
Lessons about Race, Class, and Gender in America. And before she died, she told me a difficult story about actually sort of a trigger warning of her being raped by her brother. Okay. So she said, you have to put this in the book. You have to put this in the book. Okay. So when I started writing this book, I called my brother and I said, I don't know what to say. And he said, there's a reason why we got to where we are. So he's an internationally renowned pianist. So he played at the White House. He was the first African American to win the International Piano Competition.
Wow.
Okay, 1992, the Naumburg International Piano Competition. He said, Menah, something has to explain how we got here. And sanitizing protects no one.
Wow.
I mean, it's true. Who does sanitizing protect? It protects no one. And so I felt a little bit of freedom, but I try not to tell his story in the book. Like I focus on my journey. But I do think that we hide, especially I think as Black people, it's like, don't tell our business.
Don't tell our business. What they say, what happened in this house, stay in this house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, so it's this very secretive, protective culture because white America will take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a protective thing, but it also is painful and it's hurtful.
It's hurtful. And I think too, if we talk about honoring our stories, and our stories are not just ours, right? They're integrated. There's one thing about, it's hard enough to acknowledge some of the things we've experienced, but it's another thing when there are people that we love and respect that are complicit, or not even, sometimes we don't even respect them, but because of the social pressures, because of the honoring your elders stories and all of that, but the thing that's resonating with me as you're talking, I keep thinking about that backpack, you see, right? That backpack with that voice in that backpack, baby. I keep thinking about it and connecting that to identity, right? When we sanitize the stuff too, we can't be free. You know, we can't. Ooh, and depending on what's in that backpack, baby, you might need to have do the storytelling with your therapist and some other things, because it might be rough for you. But this is really powerful. So let's say somebody's listening and they're like, "Dang, I need to get back to writing," because I'm thinking I need to get back to writing, right? What are some initial steps to get started, would you say?
Yeah. So the first step is to buy a beautiful journal. Just something that you just cherish to just even pick up. And that's like your first investment in yourself. Right? It's not like some little, $3 general store journal. Right? It's a significant, beautiful leather, whatever, investment in yourself. So that every day when you go to it, you're excited to go to it. Okay. Then you decide who you're writing to. For me, it was love. But sometimes I wrote to myself. I was like, "Dear Menah, girl, what are you thinking?"
Yeah.
Right? So you have to decide, who are you addressing? Is it a letter that you're writing? Are you just writing a reflection about the day? So I think it can be, you can start very simple, right? It's like, my day today, I did so-and-so and such and such.
Yeah.
Because the act of writing, words that you're not thinking come out.
Yeah.
So you might think you're just writing, handwriting. I went to work today and I was mad at Amy. And why was I mad at Amy? And Amy did something.
Exactly.
It just starts coming out, right? So it's like a simple thing, reflection on a day, a hope for the next day. What do I hope to, because we write to-do lists for the next day, but not the hope or the intention or the prayer or the aspiration, just for the next day.
That's good. That's really good.
Right? People talk about gratitude, and I do think that's important. It's like, okay, what am I grateful for? Okay, I have a home. And there's no problem with being repetitive. Day one, you can say, "I'm grateful I have a home." Day two, you can say you're grateful. Day three, you can be repetitive. Right? You're not getting graded on it.
Yeah.
Because I'm thankful I have food.
Yeah.
I'm thankful I made oxtail today.
Ooh. I'm coming over. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be pressure, whatever. But what I'm hearing as you're talking about, different things we might write, I really love that hopes and intentions for the next day. I really love that. What I'm hearing is that by writing this down and starting with whatever's coming and then letting it flow, like you're saying, it's validating our experience. It's acknowledging, just affirming and acknowledging the human experience. Whatever I felt, they pissed me off. I felt good, whatever. I exercised today. And I think that can really support in our own self-awareness too, and building that. We talk about self-awareness and emotional intelligence and all of this and leadership competencies and all these things. But I mean, I'm really hearing just having some time to write and give that brain space or whatever's in here a space
Yes.
can really be powerful for that self-awareness too.
That self-awareness, I think, is
Yeah.
huge. I mean, I've worked with many women of color colleagues, and I think there's just something with the sort of oppression and trauma we experience that sometimes we are not self-aware.
Yes.
And I think it's really important. Like, I criticize myself as like, girl, why did you do that? It's not in a berating way, but it's like, okay, we all have room for improvement.
Yeah.
And if we are not self-aware, it's like, okay, I could do this a little better tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you find that opportunity for improvement, but you also compliment yourself. It's like, girl, you did that good.
Yes.
So you balance it. But I think sometimes we're so just victimized by the world that we just stay in that space.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
But writing helps us to kind of balance our, world out a little bit.
I love the balancing because I feel like the self-awareness piece, when you mentioned the victimizing, when you have a space to release it, it might be writing, it might be talking to your loved ones, it might be your therapist, it might be prayer, whatever that is for you. It gives you a vantage point, right? Because the other consequence of this thing is that we can internalize that oppression or become victims.
Yes.
Or remove accountability from ourselves because we become the identity becomes the oppression, right?
Yes.
So it's powerful. Okay, y'all, we got to start back writing. Listen, I'm preaching to myself. I'm gonna go and get me I might even go in the bookstore, Menah, and feel to get my journal. I might not even Amazon at this time.
Yeah, don't Amazon it. Go
I feel like some luxury or something.
Wherever.
Yeah, I need a little luxury or something. No, this is good. And I hope as y'all are, if people are listening, that there's some inspiration. We use this, Menah's book, Blackwildgirl, as a bit of a thesis, if you will, but there's really something to be pulled from the power of writing our stories. And just in writing it, we're honoring them. We're validating them. Okay, this is so good. I could talk to you about this all day, man. I want to get to a couple of our season core questions on leaning into joy, but I do want to ask you this as I think about this chronicling you did from 5 on up, right?
Yeah.
As Black women leading the last couple of years, we've really expanded to start to do work with early career professionals. And in the first quarter of the new year, we're also going to host an event with a university that I'm really excited about for young Black women who are just about to transition from student to professional for the first time. So it'll be like your professional aunties coming to love you up and get you ready, right? As you think about some of our early career professionals or some of these young women that's just about to step into some of these spaces that you mentioned that we don't want to kill their spirit, but it's some stuff they about to step into, or they're just realizing this kind of thing. Can you just leave? I call them some unspoken truths. With those our younger sisters who haven't quite maybe gotten to where some things are gonna go. What would be some of those unspoken truths you would share with them?
It's not always personal. That's the first truth. It's not always about you.
Yeah.
And I think we're so sensitive to that. It's like they're treating me this way because I'm Black, because I'm a woman, because I'm this, I'm that. They just might be treating you that way because they just don't like you, not for any of those things. Yeah. So we take everything personally. And I think that's just a really important lens. Okay, it's not always about you. Okay. Networking matters. It just matters. Yeah. And it's hard to go socialize if you don't drink. It's hard to go out with the group and go to the bar or go out to dinner or go to the club. But that engagement, if you're committed to trying to just meet people in different ways, I mean, I have to work myself up sometimes. It's like, girl, I talk myself. Girl, you can do it. Go on to that party. I know you're going to be the only Black person. You might be the only Black woman, but you got to go. because that networking and relationship, it opens doors, and you just don't know who knows who to sort of advance.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to become courageous in talking to white men. I don't know how to say it any other
Just
way.
say it plain, just like that. Yeah.
I think about my very first job, professional job. I was a lawyer at a law firm. I was the only Black woman lawyer. And all my colleagues were white, and we would have to go to lunch together. Okay, so I'm a young Black woman lawyer with very senior white men. Okay, and we're at a country club type atmosphere having lunch. And the white man's looking at me. I'm looking at the white man, and it's like, well, the weather's...
Here we are.
How's the weather today? It's cold, isn't it? Yes, it's cold. Yeah. So, but I got to the point where I got very comfortable talking to them, and they got comfortable talking to me. So much so that a job down the road, I was the only Black woman. I was a construction lawyer, and I was negotiating $500 million worth of construction contracts with all white men in the room. And they were my friends.
Yeah.
And so we just have to become courageous. Yeah. I mean, everybody has a family, everybody has a dog or a pet, or, there's points of connection, and try to find those points of connection. Yeah. The last thing I would say is try to leave work at work. Okay.
Boundaries.
If there's some complicated relationship with someone that's getting, we bring that person into our home. It's like, Bob treated me bad today. Okay, you come into your house and you call your girlfriend. It's like, Bob treated me bad today. Now, Bob is in your home.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to learn this, but I tried to leave Bob at my door. It's like, I'm walking in my house. It's like, Bob is going to stay out there.
He's not welcome. Yeah, he's not welcome in here.
No. That's a very important self-care strategy, is like, leave that stuff. It's going to be there tomorrow. Yep. You can pick it back up tomorrow. Yep. But don't bring it into your house. Yeah. And I have also found that people that you think you're most oppositional towards, there's wisdom in interacting with them. So don't make enemies. Yeah. Right? And reach out to those folks that you think don't like you. It's like, hey, let's grab a coffee. I cannot tell you how many coffees, and I don't drink coffee, I drink tea.
Tea drinker as well, yes.
How many coffees have changed my relationship with a person? Because
the humanity. You got to talk to the humanity.
Yes.
Yeah. This is good. Yeah. Okay, before I transition to ask you at least one of our core questions on our season's theme, is there any final points you want to leave on honoring our stories or finding our Black wild girl? Like, what would you leave?
I would leave with a charge to find your mantra. What is the mantra that you could go back to encourage yourself? There's that gospel song, sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Like, what is your mantra? And I remember, go to counseling. I mean, if you don't have the right one, go to another one. Just like keep going to counseling. And I had found this amazing Black woman counselor. And she said, Menah, I see you like a tree. She said, I know you might not feel like a tree right now. It was during COVID and it was complicated, but you are a tree. I see you standing tall and putting out branches for other people to, support others. She's like, you're a tree. Okay, so I went home and I journaled. She said I was a tree, blah, 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 blah. And then my mantra, be the tree, Menah, be the tree.
Rooted.
So just find your mantra. And I go back to that, Menah, you're a tree. Yes. Be the tree, Menah, be the tree. Right? So I think having your own mantra that you journal, remember, write about, to encourage yourself. And it's like, you're valuable. Like you yourself, without anybody else, you're important. You matter. Yep. like you matter.
Yep. Just because you exist, just because you're here. I love it. Oh, I love it. I love it. This has been lovely. So, our season 8 theme is leaning into joy. And we're finding, and I think this is perfect, because I think this writing practice, this discovering ourselves, can really help us to make joy more accessible for ourselves. But what we look at all of our guests as possibility models, right? As big sister role models in some way, because it's something you tapped into that we want to hear about, right? So I'd love to get your thoughts on this. When you think of a moment when you truly felt joy, like that down in your soul and your gut joy, what comes to mind for you? What comes up for you?
I struggled with this question
Yeah.
actually, but I found like three events. But then I sort of struggled with the fact that it was sort of events,
Okay.
right? But I'm going to share the events. When I turned 30, my mother threw a party for me, and I got my dissertation that same year, and I was pregnant that year, and I turned 30.
Uh-huh.
And my mom just said, "Who are your friends? Invite your friends, and we're going to celebrate." And I just felt really wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I turned 50, my brother said, "Menah, I'm going to have a party for you. Invite all your friends to Cincinnati." And he had a magnificent
Wow.
birthday party for me. Okay. On the 25th anniversary of my marriage, we did a vow renewal, but our marriage was precarious and we eventually got divorced. But that vow renewal, I had this amazing wedding dress.
You was fine, girl. You was fine.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh, it was the best dress ever. And I had family and friends around, and it was in New Orleans. And the food was great. And afterwards, the husband at the time went back to the room because he was sick or whatever. And the cousins and I and friends, we just walked down Bourbon Street. I had the white dress
Girl,
on.
living.
People were
Yes, living.
throwing beads. And I just remember how happy. It wasn't about the marriage. It was like those wedding and the energy of all the people.
Yeah.
And so I think, yes, some of these events, and I have told my children, I said, life is about making memories. So try to make memories, because those are the things. The everydayness is just every day. But every now and then you need this out-of-pocket experience
that just blows your mind.
Yeah.
But I love it. The common theme, though, all of them was celebration, being affirmed by your loved ones, and having that time with them. That's the common theme. So that means you got to find every moment you can like that, partying with your people. That's just that.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, here's the last one I asked. Joy can sometimes feel fleeting, right?
Yes.
Whether, through experience, relationships, ongoing practices. This is a two-parter. What is bringing you joy in this season right now? And I'm thinking of everyday practices, simple joy. And what's one way you intentionally create space for that thing?
Yeah. So I went through a very difficult period this year. From March until August was exceedingly difficult. The office I had built for 10 years was dissolved. The whole team lost their jobs. And a non-traditional Black male counselor I had said, "Menah, you built that team for 10 years. I said, "Yes." He said, "It's like your babies were sold off at a slave auction."
Jesus.
Okay. So you just think about that image, right? It gave me chills when he said it. This, like, that trauma. And it's like, how do you find joy now with that trauma that's still there? Okay. And it took me some time. It took me time because my definition of joy had shifted to be decently content. Okay. That's what I strive for, to be decently content, just, at this higher level. And I was like, how can I get there? Because I was not. I mean, my body was in pain I had never experienced before.
Wow.
I was like, what is this sciatic nerve pain doing? I had that when I was, when I was having babies. I didn't have a baby.
Right.
Like, my whole body. My blood pressure was at stroke level. It's like there was no joy. And it was small steps that got me back to sort of that joy. Small little everyday steps.
Yeah.
Menah, get out of bed. Your feet touch the floor. That's good.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that's good. Menah, who do you need to stay in touch with? Like, don't be an island. Don't be an island. The ocean has always been healing.
Yeah.
Like, the ocean brings me joy.
Same.
Like, I get to that ocean.
Same for me. Same for me.
I am so happy. Right? So the ocean is a source of joy. So whatever it is, the ocean, the mountains, I love Sedona. I feel like that's a very special place. But wherever your place of joy is, like the spiritual energy, the physical place, like go there.
Yeah.
So that was an important. around family and friends. Like my children, it's like, Mom, we want to check on you. My son came, we hung out, I hung out with my daughter. That was also important. Another very interesting thing I reflected on, Coco Gauff won the French Open.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, that's so awesome, right? Beyonce, I went to a Beyonce concert and it made me so happy. Just like her daughters were there, the music, and it was just like this affirmation of Black womanhood that I felt like I needed to see and experience and feel. And the final thing was I started reading books about women who had like overcome things. And I read this book in a library that was called The Woman Who Refused to Be Silenced. And it was about a white woman who in like the early 1900s was put in a mental asylum without her will. But men could do that to women, to their wives. And it was about her journey not to be silenced and just to keep speaking out and eventually become free. But I felt very empowered by reading that. Yeah. And there was this little book that my mother had about Black women in the 1900s and the 1950s. They're little biographies. They're little stories about how they just survived. Yeah. And it's like all those little things. It wasn't one thing. It was just little things that just kept encouraging my spirit. And I guess the final thing I want to share is I went to an event where a Native American woman, it was a healing event. Because there were a lot of Black women in this space who were chief diversity officers who had lost their jobs. And she said, we're going to think about what gift our ancestors have given us for this moment. Okay. And she said, I'm going to start. She said, I'm from I forgot now the tribal nation, but she said, the buffalo are my ancestor. Okay. And in a very harsh winter storm, the buffalo do not turn to the side. They face the storm head on. They come into community with other buffalo and they move through the storm together. And I was like, that's great. I'm going to be a buffalo. Okay. I'm going to find my buffalo.
And we're going in that thing.
That was it.
Yeah.
I had an image. Yeah. I had an image. I had, it was a Ho-Chunk Nation. It was like, I had an image, the buffalo. I'm going to be a buffalo. I'm going to find my community. I'm going to cherish them. I'm going to support them. I know they'll support me. Yeah. And we're going to get through this storm together. And that gave me joy.
Yeah. I love it. And it was about it sounded like ongoing practices, right? Because you knew you needed it. You needed to get back to the baseline. Yeah. I love it. This has been lovely. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for sharing your story and just your wisdom. This has really been lovely. How can people connect with you outside of this episode? And is there anything special you have going on that you want to let people know about?
Sure. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. I think it's a really wonderful space to create and be in community. And I try to write articles. I'm working on a book on my father's life, actually, right now. I have 300 documents, archival documents of his life journey. And so I'm looking through those and writing a book about him. And there are 3 friends of mine who have started an organization called Spark. And it's scholarly platforms for advancing research and knowledge. It's academic based, but they're going to continue to do some of the work that wasn't able to be continued in this moment. So conferences to support women in higher ed and their journeys, continuing this Dear Higher Ed project. Yeah. And so it's sparkacademic.org. It's a nonprofit, but supporting them in that work has been really wonderful. So I would encourage people to look up sparkacademic.org. I have my own website. It's menahpratt.com. And encourage people to think about getting Blackwildgirl. I did the audio book for it, so it's me reading the audio book, and there's an ebook and also the paperback. So
lovely. And we'll put all those links in the show notes. So I hope you all got something out of this episode too. If this resonated with you, affirmed you in any way, we encourage you to share it with your friends, your colleagues, your family. Share it. We're on all major podcast platforms, and we're really promoting our YouTube channel. So if you want to see me and Menah's fine faces, baby, listen to this on YouTube. You'll see us on there. Our YouTube channel is at Black Woman Leading. If you want to follow us, Black Woman Leading, on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, we're at Black Woman Leading on all of those platforms. And you can also visit our website at blackwomanleading.com to learn about our programs and events. And fun fact, y'all, we got a line dance now. Okay, talk about joy. We have our own Black Woman Leading theme song and line dance. So get to our YouTube, and you can get you a little Black Woman Leading, little side shuffle. Okay, it's a tutorial, everything. If you want to connect with me personally, I am at Laura E. Knights on Instagram and very active on LinkedIn as well. And then finally, we do a lot of work inside of organizations to help them build their leaders and teams. So you can learn about our corporate offerings at knightsconsultinggroup.com. We would love to connect with you in any of these ways. And until next time, be well. Black